someone, like, please take a shot every time somebody's like, oh, rest in peace, NXT. Guys, I'm gonna. Like, I'm trying to always understand the concept of other people's point of views, even if they don't collide with my own, and I understand that. Just noticing, like, the pure thought process of you guys having your little WWE indie fed conceding with, like, the lack of built talent around the main roster. What WWE's doing is a good decision. It's a good decision over to a concept of actually trying to farm for youthful, long-staying talent that they can mold over to get over. If they're not doing this, NXT will just be another indie fed. Will they'll be having an MLW light talent that's not coinciding with outside fans and just thinking, oh, because they get over with the NXT and WWE bubble of fan base, that's dying, by the way, that they think they'll get over. That's why guys like Finn Balor still get TV time. He's a good cruiserweight star that can't get over a majority audience and has a terrible gimmick. That's the level of entertainment value Finn Balor has. The entertainment value Gargano, Damian Priest, Keith Lee, Adam Cole, Tommaso Ciampa, Walter. All these guys are just regular 30-year-old indie schmucks with no concept of what at least what CM Punk had to garner over outside viewership, have the ability to do anything other than set over a good match and look more than just a cruiserweight. I mean, or a mid carder. Do I and how I feel like they should do this? They're building over the younger stars. Good thing. They're gonna change the format in general for the NXT, and I feel like they need to coincide with tough enough level cinematography into an hour-long product of just a small amount of wrestling, but still trying to build over, like, show you the outskirts of how to be a WWE star without them just being themselves and having no centralized organic form to get over. Because if you just show Adam Cole being Adam Cole and no other fans know who he is outside of just the NXT fan base that watches a lot more wrestling, that's going to be a more difficult way to get over it outside of a broader audience having 10,000, like having a 500 people to having 10,000 people watch live and millions watch on TV. That's completely different stratosphere of how NXT is different from WWE. People might be upset about this change. I'm all for it because wrestling has been the most unwatchable over in recent years for a long time. And just noticing that nobody's this concrete that something's got to change the format of. The NXT guys are not getting over as subjective, even by themselves when they have enough TV time. Hell, you don't even know how much WWE really cares about trying to get somebody newer over. That they force over Finn Balor, a guy that's unproven, doesn't have the concept of being a main event star, can't draw, but has a decent looking move set that's just drop kicks and get the minuscule fan base over, why not just put him in the cruiserweight division? Why force him over to something that gives him the higher expectations and more screen time than anybody else in the show? And he flopped and couldn't even get back over to that higher level until the fans have to force him there again, and he still can't get over organically. That's the issue here. So I'm all for this new change of direction of Nick Khan and Vince McMahon because I feel like this is going to benefit NXT in a wide variety of ways if they go over more story of progression, trying to actually show how these wrestlers should be in the WWE landscape, try to mold them over to be stars, and just not always do 100% wrestling. Hell, if you want make it like paparazzi production or make it like how it was for the earlier stints of TNA. Try to make it reality focused or trying to make it like actually trying to shift these guys' personalities because everybody shits on Game Show NXT and you can shit on it all you want. I remember still like Titus O'Neil fucking up, David Utaga, Michael Tarver, Michael McGillivray trying to be a blowhard like perfectionist and trying to be entertaining at the same time. Daniel Bryan being a liberal vegan twat that got on this man's nerves. You can tell some of these guys' personalities and looks to be like, okay, this is going to be the up and coming stars coming through. Now, every time you look at Aleister Black and Kevin Owens, these are already guys that the minuscule of fans know don't look like wrestlers, already look like they've been around the block before and not willing to change, and they they have no strive to look like in the future their character is going to evolve. That's going to be a difficulty. Thanks, most of these guys already came in their 30s. In their 30s, they come over to a developmental brand. That's like if LeBron James went to the G League in his prime year. Why? It's dumb. It's a it's a weak farming system. And when you have a weak farming system, it's going to be harder to get guys that are more homegrown to be more suited comfortably into the WWE. It's a bad look. And that's why NXT have failed to garner over an outside audience. Uh, Always been over pushed to the moon, all because they have better work rate, and yet still nobody watches them because their show's so weakly shown. Just a derivative of no star power or no creative segments other than war games and ripping off WWE and WCW old pay-per-view names, and just the lack of star power. Because that's not how you should be building over your brand, or else people are going to be expecting more. So I'm all for this new change like a more younger, fleshed out, uh, little developmental show, probably like Tough Enough with like an hour worth of content, or at least something a bit more story character driven, so we can actually build up these guys. Sure, you can have some wrestling on the side, but you should always have these segments, promos, uh, little little activities to make sure that we actually get to establish these guys first before you get them over to the ring. Just saying. I think I'm all for it for this because NXT firing most of these 30-year-old ugly like Raquel Gonzalez. Were you really expecting much out of that? Or Bronson Reed? Like, be realistic, please. Tell me how Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are going to be in 10 years. 40 and probably already released. Honestly. But that's just coming from my opinion. I'm all for this change. Hopefully Raw and SmackDown do something at least a bit different over a bit of a rebranding or something. But that's it for me. Thanks for watching.
Shut your bitch ass up!